back to the 5 o'clock Sweats podcast, the podcast where we talk about things we like to do when we're not on the clock working. Tonight, I am joined by both of my handsome buddies.
Woo. Oh, yeah. Hi, Georgie. It's me, Derick.
Shit.
You know, I think before we hit record, it was like lightning in a bottle.
No,
now
that was pretty good still.
It's like fingerprints on a abandoned handrail.
Still a little Scooby-Doo, but, you know, it's still really good.
Georgie. Right.
And I'm Chris. I'll just throw that out there.
All right, and tonight, we have officially entered spooky season. As of recording, it is September 30th, which means tomorrow will be officially October.
Ooh.
And you know what that means, boys. It is spooky season.
I thought you were going to say my mom's birthday.
That too, and my dad's birthday.
Oh,
and
wow,
some other
happy
people's birthday that I know. Yeah, spooky. And with spooky season comes spooky movies, scary movies. I will not say the other term for scary movies because I struggle with it. But yeah, we're going to do, I think we're going to have a little run here of some scary movies that we're going to watch and discuss on the podcast. And we have a little list that we were going to go through, but we decided to start with the 2017 hit, the remake of It. Stars
Dude,
Pennywise.
that's a sick rap so far. I don't know.
That's all I got.
You.
I don't have any more after that. Yeah.
So you've seen this before, right?
I saw it in theaters when it first came out, and I think that was probably the only time I'd seen it before rewatching it for this episode.
Mm-hmm. And Chris, you have a torrid history with this clown.
I've seen this movie maybe a dozen times.
Really?
But yeah, I really like this movie. I watched it a lot. I kind of burnt myself out on it though at like 2017 to like 2020. So I haven't watched it in a few years until, recently for the podcast. But I would say, and I kind of want to ask you guys real quick, have any of you seen the 90s version, which is like a made for TV special? And
never have I ever.
If you ever get your hands on the VHS, it is a 2-cassette VHS.
Oh, man.
Because kind of like they did with these movies, there's a chapter 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I just remember this movie, I will be honest, has like shaped my life in a lot of ways.
Wait, really?
And we'll get to it because there's a lot of fears that it's created for me of like very basic things. But we'll kind of get to that. But
yeah, I feel that.
The 90s version is it's a different tone. Actually, my wife always makes fun of me because if we ever watch any of them, whenever the clown comes up, I literally get like the hairs on my arms stand up.
Dang, dude. I
had no idea that this movie was such a fixture in your life. No wonder you were so quick to recommend it.
Yeah. Well, the problem is I saw the 90s version like way too young. And like, when you watch movies when you're little and like, but it's before you can understand that it's like a movie and it just really kind of screws you up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I did that too. So yeah, this is one of those ones where I saw maybe like in the second grade and was probably a little too soon to watch that.
Yeah, I have seen the original miniseries. I don't have a lot of memory of it. I do remember a lot of sewage action, and that's about it. And I remember what's his face playing Pennywise. Remember the guy's name?
Curry.
Yeah, and not Steph Curry, but yeah, Tim Curry, I think is his name.
Yeah. The one you would expect.
Yes, I do remember. I vaguely remember watching the old one back then, but not a lot. I don't have a lot of memory of it. I don't remember being overly scared, but I also, I think Chris has different fears than I do that we'll dive into. And Derick, you said you haven't seen it, the original miniseries.
Yeah, I hadn't seen either up until 2 nights ago. I watched this film, I guess Sunday night? No. Saturday night. I watched it again a few hours ago.
Very good.
To really get it in. But the first note that I took was There's just something about the feeling of like sitting down in a dark room alone in front of a projector to watch a movie that you know is going to freak you out.
Yeah, it's a good feeling.
It's so weird.
Well, I think that's the scariest way to watch a movie is alone in your home, as opposed to like in the theater. There's always, you know what I mean? There's always like everyone screaming and like you're probably with people. And I find it's a little funnier in theaters, but then it's like some of the stuff kind of like after the movie ends, like there's a little like lingering like
uneasiness.
Unsettling.
I
feelings.
do love seeing scary movies in the theater because in a crowded theater, it's like you get the best reactions. Like people are just going like people can't control themselves. They just are audibly like gasping and screaming and like and stuff like that. So if I did not have the pleasure of watching this at night on a projector, I watched it during the day on my TV. So a much less scary environment than what Derick had to deal with. So I do have a couple notes here about the movie, kind of similar to what we did with our last movie episode. So I was going to run down the list here of some notes. Got some fun facts.
I've basically just got stream of consciousness the whole way through these 2 hours.
All good. So I'll just read some of these off really quick to get us started here. So it's Rotten Tomatoes score, 85%, critic, 84% audience. So everyone was in agreement. This is a rock solid movie, if not very good. And then IMDb, a 7.3 with 621,000 votes. I was talking to when I did the Alien episode with Connor, we said anything over a 7 for IMDb is really good. So a 7.3 is a rock solid score.
Especially for a scary movie, they never rate high.
Exactly. Yeah, it's again like it's why the critic, especially on Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score 85%. That's damn good for a scary movie. Movie was directed by Andres Muschietti. I think I said that right. That Italian last name. And it is the highest grossing scary movie of all time.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yes, it made $702 million. We'll round up to $703 million at the worldwide box office on a budget of $40 million. So this was an absolute. I don't know how to gauge
budgets. Wow.
I mean that's one of the most profitable. That's one of the most profitable movies of all time. Like it's. I don't have a list in front of me, but it's got to be. I mean that is an insane return on investment. And then I have some fun facts here about the movie itself. Will Poulter was originally cast to play Pennywise over Bill Skarsgard.
All right, let's see who
Will Poulter is.
Oh, Wheeler
in my
Miller's
mind,
Wiener guy.
Wheeler Millers.
Oh, okay.
He's from The Bear, and he's also in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. He is.
I've only ever seen him in the first one. We're the Millers.
It's just
so
it's the eyebrows. He has like a look.
I feel like him and Skarsgård are like very similar. Like they're like almost the same person.
Well, Skarsgård had to make the face. Yeah. And I think Will Poulter just kind of has the face.
No, you take Poulter's upper half and Skarsgård's lower smile that he has to do. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, Bill Skarsgård won out, and he became the Pennywise that we know from this movie. And then the sequel, Pennywise the Clown, only has 4 minutes of dialogue in the entire movie. This movie is about 2 hours and 10 minutes long. He's the main villain of the movie. He gets a hand
on the ball early, too. I was surprised at how early he shows up.
Yeah. He gets basically half of that time of dialogue is in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Sophia Lillis, who played Beverly, said she had to stand on a box in some scenes since she was the shortest of the cast and she was supposed to be a little taller than most of the guys. So that's pretty funny.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. It was pretty believable that she was taller than them.
Yeah, couldn't tell she was standing on a box whatsoever. The teeth prosthetics that Skarsgård had to wear made him drool profusely. And the director liked that. Thought it made Pennywise seem more ravenous and beast-like. So they didn't change it at all. They just kept him drooling. I did notice him drooling a little bit more towards the end there. Effective.
I feel like I didn't really clock the drool.
There is one scene in particular, I think, towards the third act where they're all in the sewage fighting him, and he's close up and he's drooling just a little bit.
Yeah, they actually do kind of hone in on that. I didn't know if that was like a gag or like a. In this case, now we know it was like a real.
Yeah, I kind of think it kind of plays well in that particular juncture of the movie because he's realizing like, oh, like I'm actually losing this battle, and he's going a little crazy. So some visual storytelling there. This one's pretty funny. There's a gag alternate opening that involves Georgie and Pennywise in a hilarious what-if scenario. The scene plays out as normal until Georgie takes the paper boat from Pennywise without incident and says, "See you later" to him as he runs off, and then Pennywise is just left disappointed and then like says a curse word.
That seems like an SNL skit. More.
Yeah, right? I don't know if I can find this anywhere, but
Come get the boat, Georgie.
Okay.
All right, man. See you later.
Thank you. How nice of you to just like catch my boat for me before it falls into the sewer.
Wait.
Yeah, so those are the
I
fun
don't do
facts.
this for a living. I don't know. I didn't do it.
Those are the fun facts I have, and then now I kind of just want to open up the conversation by asking you guys, and I think I know. Well, I know the answer for Chris, but how do we feel about clowns?
I'm okay with clowns. I think when I was younger, I used to be afraid of them. Now they are just clowns. If they're a bad guy or a horror clown, I am more predisposed to being afraid of them, but no feelings one way or the other.
Yeah,
I think they're important people doing important work.
I feel the same way as you. I don't have like any predisposed feelings towards clowns. Like I was never scarred by a clown or anything growing up. Even if I did watch however many minutes of the original It miniseries, I was not scared by the clown really. I don't know. I see why they're scary. Like I get it. I really do get it. And some of them can look a little creepy, but I don't know. Just seeing a clown doesn't like give me chills or like send any shivers down my spine. Like I'm just not. I don't know. It doesn't really scare me too much. But if done right, if a clown is doing scary things, then yeah, I'm scared of the clown, but not because really it's a clown, because it's just whatever it's doing is scaring me.
Yeah,
Chris, I know how you feel, but you got to tell us how you feel.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I'm like 100% against clowns, and like in a movie context, right? Like they scare me in movies, but like just like looking at the concept of a clown, what the hell? Who's doing that? You can't tell me that that's not creepy, that like some guy is going to dress up in like basically like a parachute, a multicolored parachute. Okay. And then paint his face and then hang out with the kids. I'm not about it.
Hang out with the kids.
Yeah. There is nothing in my opinion that's like normal or logical about that. And I apologize if you are a clown listening or watching this. Sorry, not sorry. I don't get
The
it.
sad trombone music is playing. Wop, 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 wop.
I don't get it. And listen, there's plenty of people with me because there's a reason why there's plenty of horror movies that have a clown, right? So there's a real fear of it. That's not my thing. And then there's a clown college. Like I think that's dumb.
Like why are we educating them further?
Why are
exactly.
taxpayers going
crafts?
to this clown school?
Why are we promoting this as further education? So yeah, clowns aren't it for me. But again, I will say, I might have a different opinion if I didn't watch this movie at like 7 years old.
Yeah,
I think the miniseries did a number on you, on your psyche.
Yeah, plus it was like the 90s, and like the 90s was like just like those miniseries were always just a little weird. Just low budget
what you
enough.
showed kids in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just kind of like a PG way of me explaining how I feel about clowns. I have a lot more thoughts, but I won't share. I won't share.
A lot more thoughts.
I won't share any further.
We're gonna need a whole other episode about just your dissection of clowns. We're gonna get really, really Freudian here.
Clowns and sharks. Clowns and sharks.
Clowns and sharks. Now, if there is a clown shark movie, that would be your worst nightmare. Like a shark wearing clown makeup.
Like a Clark.
Sure. Or a Shaun.
Hey, Nemo. Come to this pipe with me, Nemo.
P. Sherman. Anyway.
There's also, though, I will say, the portrayal of clowns in, scary movies, they're all creepy to me, but I think the frantically moving clowns are the scariest to me.
Yes.
And that's why this movie kind of hits, because like they do a lot of like effects where like he's like jittering and like
Yep, that's in my
crazy
notes.
shit.
I
Yeah, that's-
specifically noted it. Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, that actually is. Yeah, I agree with that. That is scary. But again, for me, it's not so much that like it's the clown. It's just like the movement itself is kind of scary.
Yeah.
The makeup too has a lot to do with it. Like if makeup is done in a way that kind of accentuates certain features, like
Yeah, maybe my lips look more plump.
the cheeks or like the smile, like they do a really good job with the makeup in this movie with Skarsgård. Like when he smiles and like it's almost like caricature like.
Well, even the shape of his head that they basically use,
it's like
it's very over the top. Yes, and I think the clowns are scarier like less is more. I think when they're like the face paint is like too intricate, I think it loses the like the scare factor, but like in this case it was just like it was done just enough, and I think like the voice and the eyes and the facial expressions like really sell it, and I think that's where like the scare factor comes in. And the orange hair, right? It's kind of like flames coming out of his head.
Sure. I mean, that is a traditional clown hair color. And I was thinking about this, and I only have two like clown villains from scary movies that I can reference. Obviously, Pennywise is the most famous clown from a scary movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then recently, as Chris is well aware, we have Art the Clown from the Terrifier franchise, who, for my money, is a lot scarier. But and actually, he is just scary because of the makeup and the prosthetics they use for Art. Derek, I don't know if you've seen a picture of Art the Clown. He's very unsettling. He's got like very sharp, pointy cheeks, and just like the way his face is shaped is very creepy. And he's got like this smile is very creepy, like the teeth and everything. Like they do a great job with him. So like that look for that particular clown actually does scare me. But it's basically just the two of them just duking it out for scariest clown in a scary movie. And I mean, Pennywise has been around a lot longer. He's got more of a storied history, and he's been in more movies. So
There's also a supernatural element, to Pennywise versus, when you refer to Art the Clown. I mean, I know they start to add kind of like a supernatural component.
Yeah.
To that,
I was like, is he just a man? Is he just a painted man?
I think the original concept is he's pretty much just like a psycho. But it does take a weird turn without giving away any spoilers. But I think, Pennywise is definitely like deeper rooted. And I think what's so scary though about Pennywise is that like he is actually not a clown, right?
Yeah.
It takes the shape of a clown because that's like what people like, what the kids would fear.
Mhm.
But I think the scariest part is that it changes shapes based on what each character's like individual fear or trauma is.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the most. I mean, obviously, that's the biggest. It's the biggest plot point in the movie. Did any of you look into Pennywise's origin?
Nope.
Okay.
I didn't watch the originals from the 90s. I figured I'm going into this one dry.
Well, it has like I think there's like Native American origins to it.
Kind of. Yeah, there's the one from the book, one from the movie. Essentially, Pennywise came from like an alternate dimension and like crash landed on Earth like in ancient times or whatever, and landed where Derry, Maine eventually was built. And he basically just sat there waiting for humans to exist so he could feed off their fear, basically. So he's like an alternate dimension being. And it's very, I don't know, it's very, very supernatural. Like, I don't know. It's
It's very Stephen King. Like, I'll be honest. Like, I think I think it loses its weight when you start to really like dive into the origin. It gets kind of like corny in my opinion. So I try to just take it kind of at face value. Like this is just a creepy clown versus like, you know, this is a supernatural being. And then like the lights and all that, like it does. And then if you watch the 90s version, it gets even weirder. Cause at the end, it's basically like a giant spider.
I do vaguely recall that, but I don't know. I don't remember it enough, but I do vaguely remember there being some sort of spider thing going on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they hid Easter eggs in this one for people who knew the story or had watched the other ones. I feel like I would have clocked that.
Yeah,
towards the end, but anyway.
They apparently, I admittedly have not seen Chapter 2, which I have to watch. I will now after seeing this one yet today. I'll probably watch that one tomorrow or later this week, but apparently they go into it more in the second one.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll have to watch that to really get the full grasp. But I did do a quick Google search about it because I was curious, like, what is this thing and why is it here and how long has it been here?
It's ancient. That's essentially what you need to know, and it comes around like it's cyclical. But the first movie is definitely better than the second movie. The second movie is absolutely worth watching. Different kind of tones. And actually, there's kind of like a juxtaposition between the 90s versions, which the 90s versions go, I think, a little bit tighter to the book. And the newer ones are a little bit more, I think they're, you know, they took some creative
license.
liberties. Yeah. So like this, they're supposed to have different tones to them. Because the second one is like they're adults and they're supposed to be a little bit more like kind of on like the offensive.
Yeah.
But it's a little different. You know, I'm not going to give any spoilers. It's worth seeing though, for sure.
Yeah, that'll be on my list for this month.
Yeah, I gotta watch it now. But I do for this one, for the first one, I do feel like the fact that they're all kids obviously adds to the movie and to the scares and everything. So I know we'll talk about probably our favorite scenes or like scariest scenes, but I did have a list here of like the kids' nightmares that they experienced throughout the movie. And I wanted to see which one we thought was the scariest. So I have them all written down here. I'm pretty sure I called all of them. We have Ben, who is the chubby kid, seeing the headless kid in the library when the balloon was leading him to the library or to the book section.
Basement of the library.
Yeah, the basement. Sorry.
Yep.
And,
Fuck that scenario.
He gets chased by the headless child, and also in that scene when they flash back for a second and it's Pennywise, that was actually pretty scary. Like that was one of the scariest like jump scares in the movie for me because I wasn't expecting that. We have Beverly in the bathroom with the sink and all the blood that spurts out of the sink, and like the hair grabs her and like tries to pull her into the sink. That shit was fucking crazy.
When she was cutting her hair, and which is an emotionally charged scene, I understand.
Yeah.
When she's cutting her hair and just raw dogging into the sink, I'm like, that's gonna mess up your plumbing.
Yeah.
And then this nightmare comes up. She gets pulled by the hair in the sink, and a bunch of blood comes out. I'm like, I told you.
Yeah. Now,
Tisk.
now the blood coming out of the sink. I mean, it's obviously got metaphorical meaning. There is a scene earlier in the movie where she brings home the tampons from the convenience store, and her dad, fucking creepy ass dad, confronts her. And I don't know. For me, I mean, I'll see what you guys think, but I think for me, the blood just represents like her becoming a woman, like, you know, getting her period and everything like that. All the blood, like that's her fear of like growing up and like becoming a woman and like having all this pressure, I guess. I don't know if you guys had any other interpretations of that or not.
No, I pretty much like caught on to that, and I think that's like one of the scarier points is just the fact that like it shows like Pennywise knows your deep fears. Right.
Yeah.
Like even what you suppress and what other people might not know, like, and I think that's what's so like, there's like the vulnerability there. And I think that particular nightmare was kind of like probably the darkest and the deepest. I would say like emotionally.
I definitely agree with you there for sure. She's got the most going on out of all the characters, besides even more so than Bill. And speaking of Bill, he's I have him next here. So Bill seeing Georgie in the basement in the raincoat, and then Pennywise comes up. He comes up out of the water behind Georgie, and then
he's like, ah!
the thing you hate, him moving frantically. We have Eddie seeing the leper, the guy covered in like ulcers and like the sick one, because he's a hypochondriac, and there's actually more to that story actually with his mom, which was also him and Beverly are probably the ones that have like the most deep-seated trauma.
Yeah, for me that one was definitely the scariest. Eddie,
really?
Yeah, Eddie coming out back of the house, because like he gets chased by the leper, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty scary. Then it's the thing with the reverse pyramid of balloons and Pennywise behind it.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, it's pretty creepy. But then, like Chris said earlier, the unnatural movements when he's trying to run towards Eddie, it's just fucking creep me out, man.
Yep. No, that shit did hit
and
too.
I have a theory, and I think it's because like if something's running straight at you, you kind of know how to dodge it, right? But if something's so like unexpectedly jerking,
yes,
it's zigging and zagging.
Jerking at you. Didn't know where that sentence was gonna go. Yeah, you don't know how to dodge that. Like you're just paralyzed, I guess.
Well, that's part of it too, is right. Like Pennywise throughout the whole movie, in both movies, like by character, he's very unpredictable. And there's a lot of situations where he's like, within like the group, and you don't know what nothing can actually even like happen, but it's unsettling because you're not sure what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And I think that unpredictability is kind of like portrayed same thing in like the movement. It's very like, it's very kind of like scattered, and it's chaotic and it's frantic. And I just think too, like the camera work for those like particular shots is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got three more. So we have Stanley seeing the creepy woman from the painting. It reminded me, Derek. Well, I think Derek will get this, but the Conjuring scene with the nun.
Yeah. Well, I thought you were gonna say it reminded you of something in my home. Like fucking
Derek has a very
doesn't.
similar painting in his apartment. Yeah, that part's fucking creepy. I was getting vibes from the Conjuring, and then also like I don't know, like not Bly Manor, but the Hill House show kind of.
Yeah, that's actually
just like the way that it looks definitely unsettling. Although I will admit the CGI for that kind of looked, didn't look great.
Yeah, it was scarier the second time around. It comes back later in the movie.
Yes.
And I feel like at that point it was scarier than when he first sees it.
Yeah, I think when they're fighting him at the end, like they all like all the nightmares pop back. But yeah,
we'll get to that a little later. But that's a great scene. Mike seeing his parents behind the burning door, their hands are out, and then he talks about it later, like, oh, the house burnt down and they were trapped in the room. Their hands got burnt down to the bone, so he sees that again. And then finally we have Richie, who is the last one to have a nightmare appear. He sees the missing poster with his face on it, and then the room full of clowns. And we do learn that he is afraid of clowns, much like Chris. That is his fear.
Which is so fucking funny in the context, too. He's just talking shit the whole movie. And he's afraid of the default state of the guy.
Yep. Sorry, I gotta take a minute to talk about Richie. Richie is a fucking savage in this movie. Like, it's the kid from it's like the sweet kid from Stranger Things. Like, and then in this movie, he's like saying your mom jokes every 5 minutes. He's like cursing up a storm. Like, this kid was a little shit, but he's funny, and it kind of got on my nerves a little bit. But I'm also like, yeah, this kid was like a lot of us growing up, like a lot of people in my friend group growing up. Like, yeah, this kid existed in real life. So with that in mind, what are your picks? I think that Derek, you kind of maybe already said your scariest, but if you want to say it again.
Yeah, just the Eddie versus the leper / Pennywise. I think that was the scariest only because of those movements. I think if I had to pick an actually scarier scenario, it might be Bill's going down into the like flooded basement. and seeing his probably dead brother and the clown. Fuck that.
Never go down in a dark basement. Chris, what about you?
I think for me, probably the library scene. The library kind of hit like it kind of triggered me because in the 90s film, there's also a scene that happens in the library that's quite creepy. But what I think this movie does really well, and I sort of mentioned this earlier, is they can take very like everyday places or things and make them scary. In this case, a library. And I swear every library you go in has the same design. Like you go up and then you can go down.
100%.
And like, so we can all relate to that. And it's always like, you know, by default, libraries are quiet and there's not usually a ton of people in there. So I feel like it's a very relatable kind of like environment. And also like, obviously there's that jump scare when it flashes to like Pennywise. But I think they all like, this movie's given me a fear of like storm drains, right? Like in the street.
Oh man. Yeah.
Drains in general.
Totally.
I'll be honest, like drains in general kind of freak me out.
Because what's down there?
I know, you don't know what's down there. Or like
Exactly.
hair.
And there's a scarier scene in the 90s one where like one of the kids is in like a school like locker room shower and like Pennywise comes up through the like out the drain. It's really corny looking, but it's like it definitely freaked me out. Like the concept of a drain, exactly. It's just like a dark hole. Like, what's down there? Kind of thing.
On the everyday things scaring you, I thought, like at some point, I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna be one of those movies that just makes me afraid of like stuff I do every day, like the movie Mirrors. I still can't just like look at a mirror, like just prolonged looking at a mirror. Can't do it. And this one, I have a list of things that I now can't do.
Oh man.
Show up at work. That's it. Showing up at home, because he just shows up in your home. I can't read anymore because dude was looking at the books and suddenly he was there.
There's a headless child.
Can't watch your projector.
Can't watch projector.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is where I watched it. Stupid.
The projector scene on the projector.
Dude, that kind of bugged me out a little bit when it happened. I had to like tell my brain, I'm like, no. That's the inside the movie part. We're still good here, mostly.
That's so funny.
And what about you?
Yeah, for me, it's probably, I think it's the Beverly scene just because of the deeper meaning of it all, and also just like, I don't know, the hair coming out was kind of fucking gross. And like, it's trying to pull her into the sink. Like, what's it gonna do? Like, is she gonna go down the sink? Like, how is it gonna get her down there? Like,
exactly.
What are we doing here? Like, well, if she had not fought back, like, what was gonna happen?
I think that's what's scary too, though. Like, this movie has a reoccurring thing of like pulling you down into something, which, you know, like obviously, like, you know, you'll float down here too. And like, again, that's another drain scene. Like, there's just something about drains that this movie, like, I don't know.
Remember the Rugrats episode where they were afraid of the drain in the tub?
No, but
and it was like spiraling.
They were like afraid that they were gonna get sucked down there. Yeah, that was the thing. That was a thing. Yeah, this movie's definitely this would definitely scar kids, like anyone under the age of like, I don't know, 12
42.
watching this.
Oh.
I'll say this. I cannot, like, if I'm in a shower or something, I cannot put my foot over the drain.
Really?
Yep. Now that could just be my OCD, but I'm just saying,
31 years old.
That was maybe the longest continuous silence we've had on this podcast in 62 episodes.
It's for real though. Like, just the concept of drains freak me out.
I get it. I'm trying to picture myself. I think I could step on a drain.
I could do it. I could do it, but the drain in my tub doesn't have like the covering with the holes. It's just like a hole. It's just a hole without the cover on it.
That's even scarier.
That's worse to step on, but not even for scary.
I could
reasons.
like fit two toes down there.
It sounds like you've tried.
I haven't.
Okay.
I'm
anyway,
going to get a
my-
very
would
distressed
hate-
call in about an hour and a half to come help him out of his tub.
I'm stuck in the drain.
My
all
point
fell down
being
here.
is, yeah, you don't know what's lurking in the drain.
You know, all the hair that gets in there from when I was shaving the shower just gonna pull me in. It's gonna fucking pull me in. Yeah, so I said my
Why are they
scariest
curly?
nightmare was the Beverly scene. Yeah, I think that's fair. Characters in this movie. There's a lot of them.
Indeed, there are.
There's the group of kids. There's the fucking weird ass adults, and we have some over the top bullies.
Jeez, that was, yeah. Forgot
These-
about him somehow.
Yeah,
Hours.
these bullies. I'm just gonna start with the bullies because these guys are like despicable. Well, at least the one. Well, there's two. The main bully who kind of gets killed off at the end when he gets shoved into the well. That guy.
Well, I guess we don't know that for sure.
I don't know if he's dead or not. I guess. I mean, I'm assuming he's dead, but he could be alive. He could be floating somewhere.
I like watching you doing the mental math of, yeah, I mean, I guess we didn't see him die.
We didn't see a body. You're right. But that kid's a fucking piece of shit. Like
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
What a piece of shit. I hated that kid. Like, so I know, and I get it's like Derry is like poisoned by Pennywise, and like they're like the minds are, you know, not everybody's rational in this town. There's a dark cloud hanging over it and also underneath it. So like this kid is like over the top fucking evil. I mean, the whole sequence when he's gonna carve his name into Ben's belly, like what the
Yeah,
fuck? Do people
that's
kids
fun.
actually do that shit? I know it was the 80s, but like the people like that's crazy.
I don't know.
That's crazy.
Wait, are you talking about Bowers?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
Henry?
the main villain? Yeah,
the main
Yeah.
bully. What a like
In my
piece of
notes,
shit.
he's named Henry Mullet because I forgot his last name.
Yeah, the hair's real bad. It's bad. It's very bad. But I think both of the bullies, because there's two like primary bullies, and I mean, like it is very
The other one I called Adam Driver Light.
yes.
That's actually spot on.
I've seen him in other things, but that's actually a really good way to put it. Adam Driver, like Lite.
Exactly.
Adam Driver or the guy who played Elvis.
Austin
Oh
Butler.
yeah,
Austin
That's
Butler,
not his
yeah.
name.
kind
Is that his
of.
name?
Austin
Yeah.
Butler. No, Austin Butler's his name. That's his name. Good job.
Well,
I think the characters are all like they're very stereotypical characters. Like there's you got your nerd, you got like the losers club, then you have like the one girl that wants to kind of be a part of that, and then the boys are all kind of like, oh, it's a girl. And then you
Yeah.
have like these two like bullies who are like just so over the top like bully. You know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
think it all just works. And I think what's really great about it is it has like a very large component of like kind of like a coming of age
Yeah.
Hmm.
movie, which oddly enough, like it shares, the cast member from the Stranger Things. And
Mhm.
it sort of like tapped into that vibe a little for a while. Like it felt like, kids on an adventure, albeit a very fucked up adventure, but
Yeah.
it kind of feels like that. So I think
Yeah, it is.
All right, we're back talking about the characters from It 2017. Chris had a little bit of a camera malfunction, so we're back to
No.
full strength. All right. He denies it, but we saw it.
I've
No.
been here the whole time.
All
I've been
right.
here the whole time. I was
We're
just playing a prank.
Dude, I thought you got. I thought Pennywise got to you.
Yeah, I thought, you buy any drains, dude? You buy any drains? You got a little
It's a
drain in
bold
there?
look of Kohler. Speaking of Kohler, that's not the name of a character in this movie.
It's not.
I think.
They could.
There's no way for me to know.
There could be someone in Derry named Kohler. Who knows? Yeah, we talked about the over-the-top bullies and they're pieces of shit. One, and I do want to mention the adults, the few adults that are in this movie, because they're arguably worse than the Bullies. Again, Derry is tainted, and these people are like kind of sick in the head. They've been, Pennywise has got his grip on this town. The adults in this movie, there's 3 main adults that really show up, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you have Beverly's dad. You have, what's his name? Richie?
You have Bill's dad.
Sorry. No, not Richie. Sorry. Eddie's mom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bill's dad, who's in their first scene. And the one bully's dad, who has my favorite line in the whole movie.
Yeah.
The cop.
The cop,
Henry Bowers' dad is the cop. Yeah.
Yes. These
And then
adults
those 2 people that drive by in the car while the kid's getting his belly carved.
Yeah, but they're the balloons in the background too. So I guess
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway,
It's very important.
yeah. So
Very important.
out of these guys, the bully's dad, the cop, is probably the best of the bunch. Not really saying a lot, but he does put his son. He realizes his son's kind of a piece of shit, and he puts him in his place. And the line he delivers in that scene where this fucking psychopath's about to shoot a cat.
That his friend is holding.
Yeah, like fucking idiot.
He's a paper man.
Yeah, there's nothing like a bit of fear to make a paper man crumble. I think that line is just so good. I love that line so much because it's true. It's incredibly true.
It makes you feel real sad for what's his name, Henry Mullet's home life.
Nope, I don't feel bad for him still. But again, maybe a little bit.
Well, he's an asshole because he's getting abused at home.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't mean you have to carve your name into a chubby kid's belly.
Yeah, it's just that in the line when he shoots 3 rounds at the
Cats.
ground next to him, it's like, okay, he's not used to this. Like, this happens.
Yeah,
and he's afraid of his dad for a reason.
That's true.
Like, it's not just that he has a gun.
True.
Here's the thing too, is like I find that like intentionally, but the adults are like totally useless. They're like nowhere to be found, right? Like most of the parents are just like completely off in some other like land, and or they're just like in total denial. But it's like this is one of those movies where it could probably be over in like 4 minutes if they just went to their parents instead of chose to ignore their existence entirely.
And that's like the influence of Pennywise, though, right? Like he makes the parents like just not think about shit, not see shit, and like it's all fine.
They also just have like unlimited freaking free time. Have you noticed that?
The parents?
The kids. Like they're just off on this adventure for like ever.
Well, it takes place during summer. There's no
Yeah,
school.
but I mean there's nothing, nobody's working summer jobs. Parents aren't making you do shit. Like you don't gotta go on vacation.
These kids are like 12 to 15 years old. They're not working. They're riding their fucking bikes, going in the sewage drains, jumping off cliffs into water. They're just doing kid stuff.
I was working.
You know what? You're just an overachiever. You're a working man. And so the cop obviously has undertones of abuse to his son. Still don't like the kid, but yeah, the dad's not great either. He gets what's coming to him, I guess. He gets that little shiv to the neck after Pennywise is on the TV telling Mullet to kill him all.
Yeah, it's that lady and those kids on the TV. It's so creepy.
That was pretty creepy.
Yeah. Eddie's mom. Weird. Very, very weird. There's a little bit of a foreshadowing here with her and the relationship she has with her son. When she makes him give her a kiss before leaving, and then later you find that the medicine that Eddie's been taking is a placebo, and she's intentionally keeping him sick so he won't will rely on her. She just doesn't want to be alone, but she's also just keeping him from enjoying his life.
Have you ever heard of Munchausen by proxy?
Yeah,
I have.
This is literally that.
That's this.
Yeah.
she's basically making up ailments to like keep him on a short leash, kind of, and so that like he's dependent on her. And then you see throughout the movie he slowly is like catching on, and he kind of like starts to gain his like independence, so to speak. But yeah, it's there's some pretty deep like trauma that
like psychological trauma,
that this movie taps into.
Yeah, there's some fucked up shit. And then probably the most fucked up of it all is Beverly's dad. Like, this guy's clearly like
a creep,
abusing her in numerous ways, and it's never outwardly stated, but it's heavily insinuated that there is a sexual aspect to that, and it's not good. It's very off-putting, or very unsettling. So he's a fucking piece of shit. That's why she also sees him at the end when they're fighting Pennywise, and Pennywise takes the form of her father. Yeah, it's fucked.
She jams that rod like down his throat.
Yeah, and I love that. But that's also some imagery there. We're getting back into kind of the alien sexual imagery here, like the phallic symbol being shoved down.
We had some weird phrasing for a sentence or four there, huh?
The phallic symbol being shoved down the man's throat. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that up again.
I did. That's what I thought of, actually. I was like, I'm going to bring this up later when I saw that scene. So yeah, the parents are also fucking shitheads. The kids, I think they accurately depicted how kids of this age would interact with each other, especially boys interacting with each other. Like, they're just constantly ripping on each other, which is very on brand. I thought they captured that very well. I mean, did you guys have a kid that you enjoyed the most? Like, is there one of the?
That's a sentence. That's a question. I'm not going to. No.
How about this?
No.
Is there a member of the main cast that you liked the most?
Nah.
He couldn't help it.
How about you? How about you answer first?
Sometimes I don't.
What kid did you like
these
best?
things through? I mean, I gotta say Richie, because I mean, he's just over the top, kind of a shithead, but really funny, and I don't know. He made me laugh throughout the movie.
I always thought Eddie. I thought Eddie was funny. Like his kind of humor, and then like at the end, he's like, "You're gonna make me kill this clown,"
yeah,
or something like that. Like I don't know. I just thought that was kind of funny.
That was Richie at the end.
Was it?
Yeah. He's saying
Eddie because he just like whips out his inhaler when he's like hyperventilating. He's like, "Oh wait. Fuck, it's here."
Oh wait, it was Richie. Yeah, you're right. But I do. Yeah, Eddie's definitely like. I think his sense of humor is funny. Also, that scene where he like falls through the ceiling.
Jesus, yeah,
breaks his arm. Dude,
yeah.
I know that wasn't one of the nightmares, so I didn't bring it up. But like that to me was probably the scariest scene of the movie, when like he's like Pennywise opens up the refrigerator. And he's like all like contorted inside the fridge.
Yeah.
And then he like twists out of it, and then he's like slowly walking up to him. It's just man, dude, very unsettling. And then he like fakes biting his hand. Dude, I can't stand it. I can't. You don't know what this guy's gonna do.
They have a fear of refrigerators now too.
That would be helpful if I did. I could probably curb my midnight eating if I had a fear of refrigerators.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah, the characters are all really good. And they accurately depicted like how these kids would interact with each other. They introduced Beverly into the group. I thought that was also really well done, like how they would respond and react, like, "Oh my god, there's a pretty girl here," and I thought that was all really, really well done. I did feel bad for Ben, who, Ben and Bill are kind of fighting for Beverly's honor in this movie. They're not really fighting each other, but like it's the love triangle: Beverly, Ben, and Bill. Ben writes her that really cute little poem about January embers, right? My heart burns there too, or something like that.
Well, I'll say this. Watch the second movie.
No shit.
Ooh. Okay. Well, it's like, because Bill does get the kiss at the end of this movie, so he ends up winning this movie. Poor Ben doesn't get anything.
Just watch the second movie.
Okay. All right. Foreshadowing. Scariest scene. Chris, you kind of just said your scariest scene, the scene where Pennywise comes out of the fridge all contorted and whatnot. That's where you're gonna go with? That's your scariest
Absolutely,
scene?
by a long shot.
Okay. Derek.
We talked about this while your camera went kaput, but I think the scene where Adam Driver Light is walking through the
Yes.
the drain with the makeshift flamethrower, and he eventually finds himself in a dead end, like up against an iron grate. And he turns around and there's just a bunch of, dead kids trying to get him. And like when it's this close, I think there's a balloon and it pops and it's
Yeah.
Pennywise.
And then once again, there's that chaotic movement where he's like, "Ah!"
Yeah. Jeez.
But I think that was a good way of doing, like, the dark to light. Dark to light was, I've never seen that done before. I also
Yeah.
don't believe, like, I've done that as a kid. I don't believe it would work that well. I just don't. I don't think
Yeah,
that.
I don't
think that
remember
thing
it
would have
being
that
that
much
good.
That's a
flame
nitpick.
to it.
That's a nitpick. that kind of thing's been done in movies all the time.
They also didn't care what the fuck they put in those cans in the 80s, I guess.
No, they have no idea.
Also, like, what kind of loser walks around like with just this, like, a spray can?
This
I
guy.
don't know.
What about
Dweeb.
you, Ryan?
For me, I just think that first scene with Georgie and Pennywise is just iconic, arguably, like for like scary movies at least. I just think it's just so well done. Like it's really well shot. You got the boat going down in the well. I do think the initial reveal of Pennywise maybe could have been a little scarier. Like he gets the eyes, you get the eyes, but I don't know. I maybe the first time I saw it, I jumped a little bit, but I feel like if there was like more of like a sound or something, it would have been a little more startling.
I think you need to watch the original. That scene, in my opinion, is done. It's done better. It's like visually, there's not as much like stuff going on. Like it's not like there's not like CGI as much. It's more like left to your imagination. But I think it's like a darker tone, and it seems like more sinister.
Yeah.
I will say overall, like this film, there's a lot of like comedic relief in the movie.
There is, yeah,
which is good, but it doesn't quite hit that dark tone that I think the original does, where there like really wasn't much of that. Tim Curry's portrayal of Pennywise was kind of like the comedic relief at times, and that was what was so like unsettling, is everyone else was like really serious. So I think I agree with you. I think the opening scene is great. I kind of expected a little bit more out of it, knowing what the original was, and I felt like this one was a little. It wasn't quite as scary.
Okay. I have to go back and watch it.
I think that for the rest of the movie, when somebody encounters Pennywise, it's normally pretty quick. I think it's interesting that like he just shows up. He's just in the drain, and you just have to look at him for like 5 minutes while he talks to Georgie.
Yeah.
And like, it wasn't a pleasant experience.
It was a good way to start the movie. And like I said at the beginning, Pennywise only has 4 minutes of dialogue in this movie, and he basically uses half of it in this scene. I really just like Skarsgard in this scene. I think he's great. I think his voice work is excellent. I think like he starts off like kind of like this innocent sounding clown, and then as he talks more and more, he gets a little more nasty, a little more like hoarse, I guess, in the voice. You can see like, oh, this isn't good. This isn't a good clown. Not that we know it's not a good clown, but the way his voice kind of changes and evolves throughout the dialogue delivery was really well done, I thought. And then just the scene where Georgie is going to grab the boat, obviously something bad's going to happen to him. It's like, I feel like it takes him like 5 minutes to try to get that fucking boat.
I wasn't 100% sure he was going to beef it right there. I was like, I don't know what's going to happen to this kid, but like, it's not going to be good. I don't know if he's going to be a main character or, nope. Okay.
And then just like Pennywise biting him, like that mouth opening up, because you don't know what you just assume it's a clown.
Yeah,
Clearly, he's more than a
you know what that
clown.
mouth do.
Yeah, I mean, that thing just unhinges. All right, we are back again. Chris's camera is having a rough night. Might be the influence of Pennywise. We don't know. But yeah, I was just going to take a couple minutes here to talk about the ending of the movie really quick, and what we thought about it. I like this ending. I think it really is like full circle for the whole movie, for obvious reasons. It's just all the kids versus Pennywise in the sewer, in the sewer, in the well house, and they have all the kids that Pennywise, all the people Pennywise has taken over the many years, just floating above with like a pile of their belongings underneath them. And I just like the whole metaphor of like, oh, the kids are all conquering their fears in this ending. It's very nice.
It's also I don't know, for that kind of movie, it was kind of like a decent like fight scene ending. It was like therapeutic for them. And I think it again was like sort of coming of age, like they all sort of grew up. They kind of gained their confidence in more ways than one, right? Because the whole thing was like that they're losers, so to speak. So now they've all gained their confidence. So I think it was a good ending, but there's more to come. Like I said, watch the second film.
Yeah, I guess I have to watch the second one.
I feel like pretty much every kid got a hand on the ball of, killing Pennywise. And like the fact that he kept shifting into like people's nightmares was sick. Like you said, he shifted into Beverly's dad. And then the thing that I clocked during the movie that I was like, that must be a reference to something, is when he has those two like spider legs, basically, right? I'm like, what the fuck? Where did that fucking come from? And
that's
there we go.
Kind of like a tribute to the OG movie, but it's like a questionable. Like, is it a spider or like a giant fucking hermit crab?
yeah. It seemed chitinous, huh?
It seemed more arachnid. I don't know what chitinous is, but that's like saying arachnid. Arachnid.
There it is.
No, it's like everyone got their time to shine, and in that scene, it was awesome. It kind of felt like Derick will get this. It kind of felt like an anime fight, sort of like this supernatural thing is just transforming into these different forms, I guess.
That's pretty funny. When they were in the house of like the well house above the well, I was like, wow, this is like Muzan's Infinity Castle.
Oh my god!
Like, actually... no, different episode. The thing that I have a problem with the ending, so they conquer him. They're like, oh yeah, we're not afraid anymore, right? And he like starts to crawl back into his hole. What someone knows where that goes. It's not me. But why are they all hugging right next to it? The hole that you can't see the bottom of, where a clown just dissolved into atoms in front of you. Why are you having your tender moments right there?
Good question.
I mean, have we not learned? Stay away from the hole.
Could have grabbed them all at once. Could have transformed into whatever, like a big crane or like a big like jaw. I don't know. Could have grabbed them all. A giant hand. I have no fucking idea.
T-Rex.
Give me 1 second, sorry. All right, we're good.
We're back.
We're back. The ending.
Are we?
Yeah, we're good. Everyone got their time to shine. It's a good conclusion. It's a good conclusion. But like, I have a question about the timing, I guess, because Pennywise comes back every 27 years. But when he comes back, like, how long is he back for? Like a year? Or I think August, when this happens in August, the ending.
It's right up until the first day of school. I don't know. I think it's usually until he gets what the being is desiring, which is essentially like food, sort of. Yeah,
it needs to feed. He's feeding on the fear of his victims, and now all of his victims that are there, they don't fear him anymore, so there's no fear to eat. He's gonna starve. That's what Bill says to him, like, now you're afraid because you're gonna starve.
He's a paper man.
Yeah, a little bit of fear made a paper man crumble, and he literally crumbles into that second well. There's a well in a well. I don't know.
Well,
Good
water's
question.
got to come from somewhere.
I don't know how long he's around, but I think he usually gets what he wants. And
Yeah, that's fair.
this time he didn't. So speaking of that,
What?
speaking of conclusions,
Speaking of conclusions, are we? Oh, we're done with the episode.
Nice.
Stay sweaty.
Smooth.
But yeah, all right. Well, I guess really quick, we'll do a quick rating out of 10. Chris, out of 10, what do you give this movie? I can only see one hand.
as a movie or like a whole or like a
Oh my
scary
god!
movie?
Just yeah, in the context of a scary movie, like what do you give it?
Oh, that
8
might
out of
change
10.
my rating.
The genre does play a role.
8 out of 10.
Oh,
8 out of 10. Okay.
How about you? You go next.
I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I think it is very good. It's entertaining. I think it's a little long. Doesn't have to be 2 hours and 10 minutes, 2 hours and 12 minutes long, but Skarsgård's great. I wish there was more like Skarsgård talking. But he's very creepy, and I think I like the most of the characters, even the shithead bullies and parents, but the kids are all good. Yeah, I do enjoy it overall. It just didn't scare me that much. Like it's a good like spooky time movie, but for me, it's like I could watch this at night with all the lights off, no one around. I could do it, no problem.
Prove it.
Okay, tough guy.
Prove it.
I'll watch
see
chapter
it, tough
2 that
guy.
way.
For me, I rated this a 6 out of 10, but in the context of a horror movie, I think it bumps up to 7. I don't think it quite hits the 8 mark for me, but I can't quite articulate why. I think for me, the line between like 7 and 8 is, would I readily rewatch this? And I think this misses the mark for me.
Okay. So you're saying this movie or Titanic?
Yeah, basically.
You're saying Titanic's better. Okay. All right.
Marginally.
I could rewatch the second half of Titanic.
Now I understand. I have like an attachment to the movie just because I watched the original. I think you guys would actually like the original more. It's definitely more unsettling in a different way. It's also like way lower budget, but
Yeah.
I definitely want to watch that. It's definitely on my list. But like, what was it? What is it? Just like Derry, Maine with like a clown on it, right? And if you want to clown on us for our takes on this one, we are at 5 o'clock sweats on Instagram, at 5 o'clock sweats on X, and find us in audio form on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Anything I'm forgetting?
Egg boy.
Hey, big boy.
Egg boy.
Fantastic.
Also, wait. The one of my favorite line deliveries in the movie is when Beverly jumps off the cliff and Richie's like, or it's Richie says, "What the fuck?" just off screen says that. I thought that was really funny. I got nothing else.
And as always, stay sweaty.
stay sweaty.
Yeah.
Now I'm watching YouTube.
Okay.
What a nice boat. Do you want it back?
I do love that scene. I think that might be my favorite scene in the
Oh,
movie.
he's like a nice boy. Do you want a balloon too, Georgie?
That's really it's actually really good. Like you have a talent for the Skarsgård Pennywise impersonation.
No, I'm just a chameleon. I'm a mimic.